All right, ladies, we're live, and guess what? It's just the three of us. Woohoo! We are
All
going to
right.
have a party. um, it's all good though. We can still we'll do it live, and people can watch it as a premiere, I guess, later or something, and just won't be any chatters. Um, so, Tay, I know you're really super busy right now. Cherie, is there anything you'd like to share about the last week or so, or anything exciting that's been going on?
Not really. We've been working mostly on this timeline.
Cool.
What about you?
Well, as you know, I don't know how to watch my own YouTube channel. Anybody know how I do that? So oh god, I'm such a nerd. I as you guys know, I had gone to Arizona to visit with my son. And I hadn't seen him in 4 years, so it was a really nice visit. It was obviously a little emotional, but you know, we had as a good a visit as we can. He had a project that he was working on, and so he was pretty involved in that, and he seems really anxious to get this project completed in some sort of hurry or something. I'm not really sure, but I think it I think it mostly is just you know, about doing it when he can, when he feels good, when he, you know, when he's feeling good, he wants to get as much done as he can, but then he wears himself out and, you know, gets tired. I think it crashes him eventually. So, but we did have a nice visit. And, you know, the morning that I left, he was feeling pretty sick. And so um, I just went out to where he sleeps, and I climbed up in the bed with him for a time and just kind of hugged him and told him I loved him and told him I suck at taking selfies. And so could he take a couple of selfies of us together? And so that's kind of what we did. So, but we did have some nice conversations, and learned a few things about me, and I learned a few things about him and our futures and whatnot. So, anyway, but I'm home now, and I'm not quite recovered and recuperated, and that's okay. I'll just, you know, I'll get there as time goes on. Hi, Becca and Katnit. I'm so glad you guys are here. It's just the five of us. Thank you so much for coming. Having said that, and having two viewers now, Kay and Cherie are going to present tonight our show for us, and I'm really excited about it because they have put together a really good comprehensive timeline that will especially give newer people to face a really good idea of kind of what happens from the beginning and what date everything kind of begins happening up to the point where we do where we get to the third interview for TERRI Morris. So tonight is a bonus episode because they've done a lot of work on this presentation, and you guys are in for a really good treat tonight because they're going to actually do the presentation, and I'm going to keep my mouth shut unless I'm called on. Is that amazing or what? So, having said that, I am going to turn the show over to Kay and Cherie and Becca, Kat. If either of you have any questions or comments, please feel free to participate as much as you can. And with that said, Kay, Cherie, take it over.
All right. Oh, it'd be good if we start at the beginning, right? Oh my gosh. I'm an amateur, folks. Why? Oh my gosh. I should have practiced this part.
You're fine.
Yeah, I'm not.
You know, these two girls, Becca and Kat, they don't have anything else to do anyway. So just kidding.
Oh, that's
I
not nice.
know. I know better. I know they have a lot going on, and um, uh, um, you know, Becca. I know Becca's very, very busy with Brendan, and of course, Cherie, I can do that. Just let me know. And Kat, she pretends like she's not really around doing a whole lot, but I know she is. I know she's paying attention to everything. So yeah. So I think as soon as Kay is ready,
Are we here? Can you see my screen?
yeah, you want to go ahead and put that into presenter view up in your top right corner.
Oh gosh, that's the problem.
We discovered a couple of new things today, you guys. So we're pretty excited, and because we learned these new things, we decided we would take on some extra. Um, Hi, T1. No, Rhonda's not playing any part tonight. I'm going to jump in and help out where asked. Otherwise, I'm going to mind my business. So, um, did you need some help getting that in open, Kay?
I don't know. I mean, oh, there we go. All right.
Oh, there you go.
Here we
Okay.
go.
For those of you T1 who are a couple of minutes late, Cherie and Kay have the show tonight. They're going to, they have put the timeline together, a really awesome timeline for you guys. So if you didn't know very much, or you're just learning, or you just want to know more or refresher, Cherie and Kay are going to do that for you tonight. So with that said, I'm going to mute my mic and mind my business and let these girls have it.
All right. I am not sure how to, oh, I see. Okay. All right. So we're going to cover the events leading up to the third interview. So we'll start with, we're going to start, a lot of people ask why did they do this to Daniel Holtzclaw? And like I've said before, that's really anyone's guess, but I'm going to share with you my feelings about it. We talked about the racial tensions of the time, and you know, I know that Black Lives Matter was on Oklahoma City Police Department and the DA's radar because so much had been happening. But Black Lives Matter, it had been founded in response to the acquittal of Trayvon Martin's murderer, and this is from their website. So their mission is to eradicate white supremacy and build local power to intervene in violence inflicted on Black communities by the state and vigilantes. So we've listed all of the people that were killed in 2014 and 15. Of course, Trayvon Martin was that 2000? That was 2013. And I'm not going to read all these to you because I know that you can read, but Michigan, Texas, California, Louisiana, Wisconsin, of all of these that are on this page, Eric Garner is the only one that I really saw much press on. So that's 2014. This is continued. Maryland, Ohio. Of course, here we are with August 9th, Michael Brown in Ferguson, which led to several waves of protests there. Once again, you know, when the officer wasn't charged, the anniversary of the death, they just kept having waves of we say protests, but riots really, because they were burning the city. California, a couple, Ohio again, New York, Ohio, Arizona, New Jersey. 2015, while Daniel's trial was, let me just back that up just a second. So inserting Daniel right after this April 30th. So everything that happened from now, everything we see from after this point was really magnified because Daniel had already been, he was already on their radar because of the allegations made by Janie Liggins. So here we are, you know, he was arrested. I'm trying to think exactly. He was arrested not too long after the Michael Brown incident. That seems so like an insignificant word to describe that. 2014, and then through the trials. So all of this stuff just continued to happen all around the United States while he was preparing for trial and through his trial. All of these. Man, Ohio has a lot. That's crazy. Oh, we're going to put an extra slide here. That's perfect, man. Let's skip that. Okay, so I think David Prater, this is not before the trial. This is, we just used this clip to show you what law enforcement, what the DA's office was thinking. We'll play this here.
Very meticulous jury. They worked very hard. I appreciate their duty and their service to this community.
What would you say to members of the African American community who may be distrustful?
Well, I'll tell you, I hope they understand that the Oklahoma City Police Department and members of the law enforcement community in this county and the Oklahoma County DA's office will stand up for any person. Any person. I don't care what they look like, where they go to church, what God they worship, or how much money they make. We stand up for people in this community. The Oklahoma City Police Department proved that, and the Oklahoma County DA's office proved that. And I'll tell you, my experience in this county as a whole, that's the way we treat people in this county, across the board. And so the African American community, I'll say this to them as well. I appreciate you trusting us and standing down and making sure nothing foolish happened during the investigation of this case and during the trying of this case. You trusted us, and we appreciate that. The Oklahoma City Police Department did the right thing, and so did we. And you trusted us to do it. And I hope you know that we will continue to do that.
Thanks, David.
All right. Thank you.
Now, what could possibly happen that would be foolish, do you think? Oh, that's looping.
Uh-oh. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Not sure. Oh, man.
When you go back retrospectively and look at the city and where it was in, say, 1993 or 1994, we always thought we were a good place to live and a good place to raise a family. To be honest, we weren't a city worth visiting. We didn't have any stuff that we were proud to show off.
anytime you travel, people would say, ask me where you're from. I'd say, I'm from Oklahoma City. And I'd get this blank stare. They just had no concept of what Oklahoma was.
What corporate America was really searching for was the quality of life that Oklahoma City did not offer.
Maps became something to hold on to and rally around. And it was like a rope. It was like, this could be a way out. This could be a way to build something that will change things.
When Ron Norick proposed maps in '93, and I remember thinking, penny sales tax, sure. I mean, try it, because we were desperate. We were desperate to make something happen.
Mayor Norick was the one who really carried the flag and said, let's take a different tack. Let's try to invest in our community as opposed to investing in a company.
And so he came up with this inventive, creative package called MAPS. It's a penny on the dollar sales tax for a defined number of years, with the city's promise that they will build projects and hopefully meet or exceed the citizens' expectations.
The campaign theme was believe in our future, kind of a corny theme, but it was really what we meant, and that we were going to make tangible decisions, make real financial investments to change the course of history in Oklahoma City.
There were many doubters about whether or not you could really pull off something like this. And it wasn't until the first project, which was the ballpark, opened that people really believed it was going to happen.
When the people entered that ballpark, saw that beautiful stadium, saw that green grass, saw those crisp, beautiful new white uniforms, it was a new day. And the citizens, you could almost feel the exhale and the good feeling that everyone had that, this is good, this is going to work.
It's not an exaggeration to say MAPS changed everything. MAPS for kids.
Very effectively.
3 different mayors, 3 different times, 3 different skill sets, but all with the same message. We're all for making this investment. We're all for Oklahoma City.
If there's a lesson to be learned about maps, it is that good things don't just happen. People have to make them happen.
It's not the bricks and mortar that MAPS did. It's the change of attitude of our community. Our kids and our grandkids are going to want to stay here. They're going to be able to find employment. They're going to raise families.
MAPS in Oklahoma City has been probably the most transformational event that has occurred in any major U.S. market.
People have seen what Oklahoma City has become, and now they see young people flocking to a community that's got its act together.
So Oklahoma City looked a little bit different. That video came out December 2013. So, they had spent I don't know how much money, but 3 mayors and 20 years getting Bricktown, downtown Oklahoma City, changing it into a place that people would want to visit. And I truly think their fear was that if Black Lives Matter came in and rioted, what would happen if they destroyed Bricktown, which they had been working on in, I think, 5 or 6 phases over all those years. So for me, that's what I think it was about. Partly. Now, was it also about Daniel Holtzclaw like being a liability or something, or being I don't know how do you think that the brass felt about him reporting every single time that he used more force than just placing the cuffs on someone, having all the use of force investigations because he was following the rules regarding use of force? So for me, I think I really always thought it was just a selfish thing where they didn't want their city destroyed, because when TERRI Morris initially reports, they don't take it seriously really at all. So the timeline starts here because they're trying to connect TERRI Morris. Well, the timeline starts here at April 11th is when Jeffrey Sellers came into contact with her, but his interaction did not match, or her story did not match his AVL. So they did check him out, and Jeff Sellers is the officer that was charged. I think, didn't we decide in an internal investigation?
Yeah.
He really ended up getting his job back after all of that through arbitration. So I don't know that he ever faced any charges since it was handled internally, but I'm not sure about that. I couldn't find a record for him. CHAREE, you want to jump in, or are you having trouble?
April 14th, 2014, Holtzclaw made contact with Florine Mathis. Florine Mathis told Detective Davis that she was walking home and Daniel cuffed her. He ordered her to empty her pockets and sit on the curb. She removed a crack pipe from her pocket, which Holtzclaw crushed. Afterward, she says he uncuffed her and fondled her right breast over the top of her shirt.
Which is really interesting, the way that's worded, right? He cuffed her. She says he cuffed her, and then he ordered her to empty her pockets and sit on the curb. So, I mean, unless she had everything in her back pockets, it would be really difficult to empty your pockets when you're handcuffed.
It would.
But that was her story. And so these allegations, this timeline, we're inserting these women into the dates that he will eventually be charged with assaults against them. These are just the dates that they pulled from his AVL, the GPS of his car. And once again, just using his own records of his workday against him to manufacture a case. So April 24th is the date that he pulled over Rosetta Great. She ends up alleging that he gave her a ride home from a crack house and assaulted her. In an interview while in custody at the jail, she told Davis and Homan a very detailed story about wiping his body fluids on a towel in the back of a chair. And so they got a warrant, and they were really excited to, get into her boyfriend, Willie Carter's house to find this evidence. But what they did find was the complete profile of an unknown male. None of Holtzclaw's DNA was present. April 25th. This
Okay.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
April 25th, this is the date that Regina Copeland testified she was assaulted by Holtzclaw. She also told an elaborate story. She claimed he stopped her and parked his car in front of her car. He searched her car while she stood behind him. Then he searched her. Even though she was intoxicated, he allowed her to drive her car to her relative's house, where she then says he pulled up beside her and told her to get into his car. AVL GPS data shows Holtzclaw never drove on that street.
But that didn't stop him from getting, what did he get, 30 years from her, I think?
Wow.
Which is unbelievable. Like at trial, Kim Davis says she's forced to admit on the stand that, well, yes, you know, she lied about that one thing. But she's credible. Sherry, May 7th is the date that he stopped Sherry Ellis, and she eventually claimed that she was raped by a short black man whose skin tone is one shade darker than her own, and that her attacker drove the older model black and white police car, which Holtzclaw drove the all-black new car. So pay attention to how close these dates are together, because I mean, I guess if you're a serial rapist, you're raping people every day. But this is, not only is it just completely not in his character when you know him, it just, how close together all of these things are just baffle me. May 8th. Daniel ran a Varuna check on TERRI Morris at Liberty Station Apartments. And I thought I had an audio of that radio traffic, and I guess I don't have it on here. But what happens here is he's out with another person, Cody Nichols, I think. And he's just about to close out the call with Cody Nichols, and he says, I'm back in, but I'm going to be out with another subject. So he really doesn't, he just goes straight into stopping TERRI, who's walking. So he stops and talks to her here at 8:53 p.m. And, TERRI is the person that they had to connect to Daniel to make him a serial rapist. Otherwise, they weren't going to be able to go on with this case, because we're going to find out in the future. Let's see, this is May 8th. Once again, I can't remember what the date was that Elaine Taylor comes back with the information that they found female DNA on the fly of his pants. But
it was June 24th.
June 24th. Okay. So, they know that they have to connect TERRI to Janie Liggins so that they can make him a serial rapist. And they've already given up on TERRI Morris, actually. They don't, they're really not interested in, they don't send a sex crime. They don't send anyone out to the scene. They're just really not very interested in working a rape case on a crackhead that they've had, dozens of interactions with over the time. May 20th, Detective Rocky Gregory went to the city rescue mission on May 27th looking for TERRI Morris. He verified that May 20th was the only date that she was at the city rescue mission. She says no less than 5 times that she was assaulted on May 20th or 21st. She was firm about that. As we saw, they had already checked Jeff Sellers, who stopped her in April. They had checked Daniel Holtzclaw, who stopped her on May 8th. their GPS was nowhere. There was just nothing that could match up to her story about this happened a few blocks from the city rescue mission, about the officer stopping and letting her out in an alley. There's just neither vehicle. I think Daniel actually, if I'm remembering correctly, I think Daniel actually drove to the jail on that day, but he did not stop. So it just didn't match up at all. I'm going to do this one, CHAREE. May 21st. This is the date Sarita Bowen alleged she was assaulted by Holtzclaw. She says he pulled up beside her and offered her a ride home. Instead, he drove her to Dead Man's Curve, where he allegedly put his penis in her mouth and raped her in the back of his patrol car.
I'm going to help out. CHAREE's laptop took a shit on her.
Oh, man, that stinks.
What do you want me to read?
Go ahead.
This one right here? Okay. At 3:05 on May 24th, 2014, the night or the middle of the night, at 3:05 a.m., Christopher Shelton called 911 regarding Terry tearing up his car and refusing to get out of the car. During the 911 call, she yelled at him for cheating on her and claimed that she was raped by the police. At the same time, Shelton recounted that he had picked up Morris after nearly hitting her while she wandered drunk on the road. She yelled at him for sleeping with another woman and rambled on about being raped. She started vandalizing his car and hitting him. Which is domestic violence, domestic abuse, right? He's a victim. He called the police. He couldn't recall any details about Morris's rape story. Terry reported to Officer Thomas that she was forced to perform oral sex on an officer who was dark-skinned and about 40. Officer Thomas reported that Terry was high on crack when she reported the alleged assault. Sergeant Dan Williams also reported that Terry said her attacker was dark-skinned. Dan Williams was Jonathan Thomas's FTO. And then Lieutenant Michelle Holland noted that Terry was hysterical. Less than 2 hours later, Shelton's current girlfriend called 911 to report that Terry was trying to break into her apartment where Shelton was also staying. Lieutenant Michelle Holland responded to this call. Terry was allowed to go to a nearby friend's apartment to go to sleep, I believe in that same complex, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it was just,
Yeah.
right there.
Terry told the same basic story of the alleged assault to all three of these officers and to Rocky Gregory on 2 separate occasions. On May 24th, 2014, the night of the assault, she told the same report to Jonathan Thomas, Dan Williams, and Michelle Holland at the Valero. And then on June 3rd, 2014, she told that same story to Rocky Gregory, which we know doesn't matter what she said to him. And then she told it again to Rocky Gregory on June 24th, 2014. There were some small details did change. Was she in the car or out of the car? Were her breasts exposed or not exposed? And were her breasts touched or not touched? But the main points, the big points really did kind of stay the same. And those were that she always maintained that her assault occurred a few days prior to May 24th, the 911 call. And she said the 20th or 21st of May. Christopher Shelton, CHAREE and I call him St. Christopher I don't remember why now, but we call him St. Christopher for some reason. But he was the first person that she told. So her ex-boyfriend was the first person she told. The crime or the alleged assault occurred in downtown Oklahoma City, and it occurred while she was walking from rehab to the city rescue mission. And she maintained from day one that that the officer who assaulted her was driving a 2010 Crown Vic.
You know, and if Terry was assaulted on the 20th, that makes sense. I mean, she's there only one day at the city rescue mission, which she was supposedly in treatment. So, I mean, you're only left to guess, did she, you know, just fall off the wagon? So, you know, that's why she was leaving? Or was she really assaulted by a police officer on the 20th or 21st and she just wanted to get out of that area? Those are the things that pop into my mind.
So along with those other main points, the thing that remained the same was she says that he exposed his penis with little to no effort. He was not wearing a condom. He was mixed race, white male with some Indian and maybe some Irish. He was 6 foot tall, weighed 260 pounds, and he had clear skin. Do I read these as well, Kay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So on May 27th, Rocky Gregory was assigned to follow up on Terri Morris's claims. Now this was after they let the whole thing go for the entire weekend, because this happened on Friday night into Saturday morning, and they just kind of let her alleged assault ride until Rocky got to work sometime on Monday morning, May 27th. And he was assigned to follow them. He tried to locate her by calling and visiting numerous places where he thought she might be. And then he engaged a confidential informant by the name of Cal to look for her. On June 2nd, Rocky Gregory interviewed Officer Thomas, although Officer Thomas had already written his own report from the 24th. And Officer Thomas tells basically the same story that he wrote in his report on May 24th. On June 2nd, Rocky interviewed Officer Thomas again, but this time some of the points of Thomas's story changed. Now the alleged assailant tells her to take down her pants, but Terri says no. Terri then asks for a female officer to be called if she's going to be searched. The assailant allegedly said that she will do it his way or go to jail, and the assailant allegedly touched her breasts. On June 3rd, do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, so after Rocky got things straightened out on the 2nd, he's really ready to find her on the 3rd.
Now, let me just tell you, if you haven't had a chance to look at Terri Morris's police report, the amount of effort that Rocky Gregory and Tim Musney put into finding Terri Morris is insane. It's just like, and it's really odd to me that he puts in times and exact times that he went here and he went there and he went this and they went that and they said this and that, but it's really insane how much effort he put into finding her. But on June 3rd, this CI, the confidential informant, found Terri at Northeast 26th and Urban League Court. Officer Kyle Maley took her into custody, and Rocky Gregory rushed to the scene, I'm sure. Terri was very upset and banging her head on the cage in the back of the unit.
She told him she wasn't interested in pursuing charges, that she really, she just wanted to let it go. And so he really was persistent with her because he wanted to get her to talk to him. He wanted he didn't want her to sign the refusal to prosecute. And so he tells her that she has to go to the station to sign that, which wasn't really true, but he gets her down to the station. Is that a...
Well, what I'd like to do, okay, now you have every option in the world, okay? But you know, I got to encourage you to go through and talk to them, okay? I can't have this guy running around Oklahoma City.
But if somebody else can do it, I don't want to. I just want to leave it alone. I want to try to get these minutes. I just want to get this out of my heart.
Okay. Well, I
just want to drop. I just want to be left alone.
I understand, and I'm not trying to harass you, okay?
I take a lot of medicine. I just want.
Well, I like I say, I'm not trying to harass you, okay? I really.
I know.
I'm just trying to look out for a lot of women out there.
I know.
And
I can't do it. I'm not sure I'm strong enough right now. I can't.
Okay. Is it even possible that I could show you some pictures?
No, I don't want to. Please. I just want to leave it alone. I just want to go. I just want to go back my life, please. Okay. Please, no. I don't want to see him or nothing. Oh my God, no.
Well, I don't even know if I have. My deal is I don't even want to chase after the wrong guy, you know?
Okay, but I don't want to. Please, no. I don't want to be a part of nothing no more.
Okay. Can I ask you this? Why is there anything that I can do? Okay. Is there anything that I can do to persuade you to help make you stronger?
No. Sorry, I'm sorry. I just can't. Please.
Let me ask you, Terry. And I know you don't.
To me, please.
I know you don't know me. Okay. I know you don't.
But I just don't want to be a part of it no more. I was already scared from the get go, and I just want to leave it alone.
Let me ask you this: do you have children? You do, or you very close to your children? Are they going?
I don't want to. I just want to sign the paper, please.
Give me 2 more minutes, and I'll fill it up as I talk. Okay, I'll fill it out as I talk.
Yep.
Is your kids going to California? Or are they staying?
They're grown. They're staying.
What would you think if they got stopped by this guy?
And they're not. Please, I can only think right now. That's too much for me. This is too much for me. All this.
It's too much.
Yeah, not long before that, I just got to mental hospital before that happened to me. I just can't.
Where have you been staying?
I was at the shelter.
What shelter?
She rescued me. Then before that, before I even went to the shelter, I was at Woodward Mental Health. Now,
where's that at?
In Woodward, Oklahoma.
Oh, Woodward? Oh, I thought you were at a rehab here.
I was after I came from Woodward.
Okay, so you went.
Woodward is a mental health.
Okay, and then you went.
I was at the City Rescue Mission. I was in the BTL.
Did you?
Faith-based.
Where's that at?
Downtown. Right there.
What's the name of it?
City Rescue Mission.
But you said that there was a faith.
BTL.
BTL. From what I understood, you left a rehab.
Please. Oh God.
Well, you gotta understand. You can't blame me for trying. You know, I don't like predators.
I'm not gonna. I know. I can't. I'm just not gonna answer no more questions. No disrespect. I just can't.
Give me an address I can put down, because I gotta have an address for this. It's
812.
Man, he's ruthless. He does not care. So while at the station to sign the form, Rocky Gregory continues to badger her. During the interview, like, how many times can she tell him to stop? She says, somebody else can do it. Don't want to. I just want to leave. I just want to be out because I'm leaving at the end of the month with my aunties. I just want to drop it. I just want to leave. I don't want to. Please, please. I just want to leave it alone. I just want to go. I want to be on my own. Please, please don't. I don't want to see him. I don't want to. So later, that was a clip of that. He ends up trying to get her to look at a photo lineup after this video where the video cut off. But I don't want to. Please don't. I don't want to be a part of that thing no more. Sorry, I just can't. Please. So she just continues on, just begging him to leave her alone, to let her be. And he doesn't.
Not only doesn't he then, he doesn't for the next month. So
yeah. Despite her pleas, he continues to harass her. He finally gives in, and she does reiterate the story to him and tells the exact same story that she's been telling from the beginning. He tries to get her to look at a photo lineup, and she refuses.
And he was what race?
Heck, I think he was white. Maybe he had some Indian in Irish or something. Because his skin complexion was like, like a dark color.
It was darker? Okay.
Like, he's white, but it's like, I don't know.
Did you see his eyes?
I can't remember. I just can't remember.
Can't remember? Okay.
I wanted to say it was blue, but I cannot remember.
Okay. You see any scars, marks, or tattoos?
No.
Okay. And was he thin or how?
No, he was like solid muscular, like.
Solid muscular?
Yeah.
Okay. And had he ever stopped you before?
I really don't know. So many police just stopped me.
Do you think he ran you that day?
Huh?
You think he checked you for warrants?
Who?
This officer.
When?
The day that it happened? Do you think he...
Boy, I don't know. He was up there doing something on the thing, but I didn't hear nobody.
What thing, like the computer, like that?
Yeah, but I never heard nobody get back with him. Oh, I think, no, he did because they said I was clear.
Did you hear a radio?
I think so. I'm getting confused
It's
now.
okay.
You want to take Adara?
June 17th. On the morning of June 17th, Adara Gardner's mother filed a disorderly conduct, assault and battery complaint against her daughter for hitting her 4 or 5 times on the arm and face. Gardner denies hitting her mother. Officer Daniel Holtzclaw reported for lineup at 4 p.m. Little did he know that this would be his final shift. He will later be accused of assaulting 3 women during and after this shift. This June 17th was Adara's Gardner's alleged assault date. Gardner's mother later told detectives when she saw her daughter late that night after the alleged rape, her daughter said she had met this really hot cop. When police subsequently asked Gardner about this comment. She said she made the comment way after the rape.
Oh, didn't it? Hang on. I'm going to go back.
Okay.
How long was your daughter a runaway? Oh, she does it all the time. That day it was only about 8-9 hours. Because I reported that morning with some other police officers on the south side of Oklahoma City. And then when I came home that night off work, she was standing there at my house.
Okay, and you didn't see anybody bring her home?
No, I did not.
Okay, what did your daughter tell you?
She said, I met this really hot cop. He told me I had a couple warrants, but he said, don't worry about it. Give me his number, and we're going to go out on dates. He was really nice, and he was sexy, and he's going to be calling me. I just looked at her like she was crazy.
Oh, man. Okay, so early morning hours of the 18th now on the final shift. He made contact with Kayla Lyles. Detectives later used this date to build a case against him on her. At 2 a.m., his shift ends. He leaves the briefing station, and as the records at trial show that as he did almost after every shift, he shut his computer down right around that area as he was approaching 50th Street. One of you guys want to do Janie?
Are you not here, Kat or CHAREE? Okay, I'll read.
I was reading without a mic.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
As Officer Holtzclaw approached 50th and Lincoln, he noticed a car that swerved just a bit. He pulled over Janie Liggins. Pat searched her and put her in the back of his car while he searched her car. He let her go. He said, although I thought she had been drinking, I didn't feel she was over the legal limit.
So go ahead.
Holtzclaw pulled away from the traffic stop at about 2:17 a.m. and drove home. When he got home, he tried to have sex with his girlfriend, who took Ambien as a sleep aid, but she was too tired.
You want to carry on through this whole sequence?
Okay. Janie Liggins says she went home and told her daughter what happened. They say they tried to call and go to Spring Lake, but the doors were locked. Finally, they see some officers in a parking lot and stop to report the assault about 3:40 a.m. Her allegations kick off a flurry of activity. Okay.
So a lot, unlike when TERRI Morris reported being raped, you know, she reports being raped in the early morning hours on a Saturday, and no one even starts looking into her case until Monday morning. But that wasn't the case here. As soon as Janie Liggins reported, a flurry of activity happened. So Holtzclaw left the scene at 2:17. Janie Liggins was right behind him. We now know that she thought that Daniel had stolen her phone. So that's why she was sitting there, because he had told her that he was going to follow her home. But she gets in the car and she doesn't go. And he gets impatient and he leaves. And then you can see in the video that she does end up pulling out behind him and going too. So from 2:17, he goes home, which is about a 15-minute drive for him. But she goes home, and it's over an hour before they call Anthony Carter. So at 3:23, Anthony Carter gets a call from Frances Carter, his mom, who says that Janie Liggins told her she was assaulted. Carter tells his mom to tell Janie Liggins to call 911, which we know she doesn't do, and that the police will come to her. But, you know, that doesn't happen at all. At 3:40, that's when Wegner and Booth, that's when, let's see. Yeah, at 3:40 is when, so they get in the car and they go and they see these two officers. So they stop and just report it to the two officers. Now, they've said that Janie Liggins' boyfriend is with them, but what we know is that he was in his own car, and I guess as soon as they found the officers, he took off and went on to work instead of staying with her to, you know, do whatever, go to the hospital for the SANE test or whatever. So at 3:59, Lieutenant David Gullikers was the on-call sex crime lieutenant. He was contacted by dispatch and told about the Wegner Booth report. Gullikers tells Booth to transport Janie Liggins to the location of the traffic stop. Oh, that's not what I wrote on here. Actually, he tells him to take her to the traffic stop first. And then they take her to Southwest Medical Center for a SANE test. 4:06, Gullikers contacts Kim Davis, who's the on-call detective, and she gets up and heads for the hospital, knowing that an officer is accused of raping this individual. She does not take any kind of recording device with her. Let's see, 4:22, Gullikers notifies Captain Ron Basie, who is, he is a black captain that works out of Spring Lake. Basie tells Gullikers to notify Lieutenant Timothy Musney, sex crime supervisor, who says he was headed to Southwest Medical Center. At 4:25, Gullikers calls Musney. Musney heads to 50th and Lincoln. Musney calls Davis and talks to her. Musney meets Elaine Taylor, the crime lab analyst's son, Lieutenant Brian Taylor, and Wegner at 50th and Lincoln to review the surveillance video with off-duty officer Sergeant Justin Walters. At 4:39, I find this really interesting. Musney tells Gulliker that he'll be taking over the investigation. And I wouldn't find that interesting as much if it didn't seem like every time you turn around, Lieutenant Timothy Musney's doing something really shady in this case. 4:51, Taylor phones Waters and he reviews the surveillance footage. And then at 5:30 a.m., Detective High calls out to the surety building. So he's out there now at basically the scene. 6:30, finally at 6:30, the SANE exam begins. And then we don't know, it's not documented when Davis leaves the hospital and meets Detective High to search for more video, but they head off to go back to the area to see if they can find any more video. And then they get, they get all together and because Daniel's going to be coming into work here at 4:00 for lineup. So like at 2:15, Lieutenant Dickerson contacts Chelsea Gordon from CSI to come and photograph Daniel when he gets in. They end up photographing him. When he gets there, he immediately volunteers that yes, he did a traffic stop at 50th and Lincoln. Goes into Clifton's office, is photographed by Chelsea Gordon at 3. Well, let's see. Right before that, Musney picks up the DVD of the traffic stop, and he starts putting together some lineups. Let's see. From 3:20 to about just right before 4 a.m. PM, I'm sorry, from 3:20 to 4 p.m. Musney, Davis, Gregory, Coleman, Major Denise Wenzel, Detective High, they all meet up at Spring Lake. Davis writes, "We arrived before second shift lineup began. We talked to Captain Clifton and discussed the physical description the victim gave. Captain Clifton said everyone's hair looks blonde in the LED lights on the police car. At 4:00, Holtzclaw arrives." Let's see. Here we go. Rhonda, you want to do this?
Sorry. Yep. What do you need me to do?
The slide?
Oh, yep. Excuse me. I was on mute as well. Officer Holtzclaw reports to lineup. When second shift is asked if anyone pulled someone over at 50th and Lincoln, he immediately tells them about the after-hour stop. He is taken into Captain Clifton's office where he agrees to be photographed. Detective Rocky Gregory says he typed the report from TERRI Morris on on June 18th. Detective Rocky Gregory says he typed,
Detective Rocky Gregory says he typed the report from TERRI Morris's 6/3/14.
Oh, okay, 6/3 interview on the morning of June 18th because it was quiet in the office.
Now, would it be quiet in the office that morning if what he knows that morning is that an officer is accused of rape?
Yeah.
Or of, not rape, I'm sorry, not rape, of
sexual assault.
Sexual assault, yeah, not actually of rape, but oral sodomy. And so now he knows he was working this case that he hasn't really been working that much, the TERRI Morris case. And now he's going to be, well, now Kim Davis is going to be signed Janie Liggins' case. But I don't know if he just thought, hey, man, maybe I can clear this off of my desk, or, police officer, that must be the same cop. Whatever, but it's ludicrous to me that the morning of June 18th, with all of this going on and him knowing that he's going to be going over to Spring Lake with Davis to bring Holtzclaw back for an interview, I just find it's really odd that he made the comment that the reason that he entered that 6/3 report into the computer on the 18th was because it was quiet in the office that morning. Is that funny to anyone but me?
It's funny, like suspicious funny. Yeah, no, it's definitely bizarre. Definitely bizarre.
You know, so they come and they come to line up. Holtzclaw agrees to go downtown with the detectives, where he fully cooperates for a 2-hour interview.
Where, by the way, in my opinion, he is assaulted and harassed sexually himself. In my opinion, they talk to him.
Yeah, he just thought they were weirdos.
Yeah, he was definitely right about that, wasn't he?
So in that interview, he agrees to a polygraph. He responds yes when asked if he wants to see the video they claim to have from the assault. I think he actually is kind of relieved at that point that, oh my gosh, thank God there's a video, because he knows he didn't do all of that crap.
Right.
He allows them to collect his DNA, and he's stripped of his gun, badge, uniform, pants, and belt, placed on administrative leave, and given a ride home.
Well, that was nice. They gave him a ride home.
Yeah. And so that was on the 18th. A week later, I guess, I don't know if Janie Liggins had anything to do with the interview, you know, with contacting or talking about wanting to be interviewed, but the person who did the interview said that the person who called it in and reported that someone was assaulted by an Oklahoma City police officer was someone from law enforcement who was a family member. So, I mean, unless she has another family member that we don't know about, that had to be Anthony Carter.
I believe it was. I read that somewhere, and I don't recall exactly. It might have been in her police report. I don't remember for sure, though. Janie Liggins is so long ago in my research.
Yeah. But, you know, as you can imagine, when something like that hits the news, even though they didn't, at this point, they're not naming him or showing his picture yet, which they will soon do. But, you know, the accusers started piling up after that.
Yeah.
You know, they know about it. So when they're approached by the detectives, I don't know, maybe it makes it easier to be a part of the case. I don't know. I don't understand.
Yeah, it's all very, there are just no words to describe what his case. There are just no words.
CHAREE, you want to do the second interview?
Okay. On June 24th, Terry's second interview and photo lineup take place. Once again, the CI alerted Rocky Gregory to Terry's whereabouts at Northeast 21st and Kelly. Rocky took Officer Higginbottom with him to that location. Rocky had Higginbottom conduct a photo lineup in the back of the police car by showing her 6 photos, one at a time. Terry stated that the first photo she saw was her alleged assailant, but then said she didn't know. Then she said the third photo might be him, but again, she wasn't sure. After looking through all the photos twice, Terry could not decide whether the first or the third, or neither, was a photo of the culprit. Sergeant Jeff Sellers was not part of the photo lineup, even though he had a history of administrative discipline for having sex with prostitutes on the job. After the photo lineup, Rocky again pressured Terry to answer questions, even threatening to take her downtown, stating, "I'm trying to catch it here, okay? So I don't have to keep bothering you." Terry replied that she was unsure about where the rehab center she had been walking from when attacked was, or in what direction she was walking. She didn't know where she was stopped or dropped off. The police car was the older black and white type. Her alleged assailant was white with darker skin, 6 to 6'2", 260 pounds, and had dark hair and a side part.
The DNA. In the days following the June 24th photo lineup interview, Rocky Gregory and Kim Davis were advised by OCPD lab analyst Elaine Taylor that female DNA not belonging to Liggins had been located on the outside fly of Holtzclaw's uniform pants. On July 1st, Davis and Homan went to Holtzclaw's girlfriend's place of employment and obtained a buccal swab DNA sample from the inside of her mouth. July 3rd, Terry was arrested and incarcerated at Oklahoma City Jail it's actually Oklahoma County Jail, due to misdemeanor warrants. Isn't that convenient? Is that the end? Is that our last one?
I think so. And then you were gonna play the preview, I think.
Do I have it? I'll stop sharing so you can do that.
Sorry, muted. It's still muted. I wanted to tell T1, I'll show that in just a minute. I want to tell T1 that I will post the video. It's probably already in there, but I will repost the video of the surveillance for you to look at in my Discord, T1, and you can see just how damaging it would have been to Holtzclaw to see that, to have that video shown to the jury if it had been shown, because it could have buried him. 263 years might have turned into be 273 years with surveillance video. Oh, anyway, so this timeline that we worked on is all part of the lead up to what we are going to be showing. I'm trying to decide. I'm trying to get some information about when we can do this, because I'm not 100% certain when it's going to happen, but we have a really big a show lined up for the third interview of TERRI Morris. So I'm going to just kind of tease you guys a little bit, and yeah, don't look at my junky looking thing. I was having a struggle, but I'm going to give you about a minute or so teaser of what's to come in this next little episode of the TERRI Morris saga. So everybody listen up, and this is part of what's to come.
This is Detective Gregory with Lieutenant Musney. We're here with TERRI Morris here at the county jail. She had been placed under arrest. She advised she didn't want to talk to us a little bit more. Is that correct, Terry?
That's it. That's all I wanted.
Terry,
I was thinking about that last night.
Okay. You said you had some more information.
That's all.
Tell me again so I can take some notes.
Tell me again.
Just that that the location I gave you was wrong.
Why did you give us a wrong location?
Because I didn't want my boyfriend to be wondering why I was over there by
Oops,
living.
giving away my secrets.
Why was you over there by living?
Because I was getting high. Well, I had been done getting high, but I was leaving on my way home though. When I got out the gate, as soon as I stepped out of the gate, he was like, he called me by my nickname, like he already knew me or something. He says, the police, he said, TT. He called me TT. That's what people on the streets call.
Right, I know.
And he said, is there anything in your purse, sharp or something? He said, you know what y'all say. Is it sharp, something I could cut myself on? And I said, no. I said, I have a crack pipe. That, trying to be honest, because I thought he was an honest cop.
Right.
Well, she was trying to be honest because she thought he was an honest cop. So that is a little teaser of what we will show in the third and final interview of Terri Morris. This this occurred on July 10th. This interview was July 10th that this took place. So it's crazy how it's gone from where all the things that we just went over and the things that we saw in the first and second parts of Terri Morris's interviews to what it's going to turn into on the next episode. The next episode, I feel like Dr. Dre, because it's going to be like a complete 180 of what we've heard from her before. It's mind-boggling, and it's also quite sickening to listen to what they do to her. They being Terry or Rocky Bonehead Gregory and Lieutenant Musney. Teaser. Stay tuned. My plan is to show this on Saturday sometime, or maybe for a Sunday matinee. I apologize that we don't know an exact date on that, and I promise we are really getting it back together and getting the time, the date of the shows that we're going to do back on track, and so that you guys aren't like wondering, oh, are they going to do a show tonight? Are they not? Oh, they were, but now they're not. And oh, look, they're doing a show on this night instead. We're going to get that reined back in and get you guys back on a regular schedule. So in the meantime, get ready, get excited for this next one that's coming. I think it'll be interesting for you. And I think T1, since it seems like I think the most new one to the case, you always come with really great questions. I think you're going to really be shocked. I think you're all going to be pretty surprised what comes with this last interview. With that, Kay, do you have anything else you wanted to end your show? I'm going to let you guys end the show. It's your show, so I'm going to let you end it. I just pushed the end broadcast button.
Yeah, I'm just going to answer a few of these questions that are in the chat. T1, yeah, it does. The MO does fit as far as muscular, but if you look at a lot of officers could fit that with dark hair. The only thing that didn't fit for Daniel was the part in the hair. So yeah, I mean, and I'm not sure what Rhonda was talking about. So what video of the assault were they referring to? Business surveillance footage?
Oh, of Janie Ligon's stop when
the grainy footage of the traffic stop where you can't see anything. They were just trying to trick him with it in the interview.
That was my sarcasm at work. It's not in very good shape.
And then Sue, yeah, exactly. You know, so she's in jail. He said to tell him again. Let me read it just for people on the replay. She says, he said to tell him again so he can take notes. Where was the first recording of the interview? Wouldn't you take notes at the beginning of the interview? Yeah, he took notes all right. He had her all prepped for that. And then he steps away to set up his little recording. You can hear that he's all the way on the other side of the room. You can hear Terry on the opposite side of the room talking to Lieutenant Musney. And they've already rehearsed this story. And he's going to try to act like he tries to get her to just tell him the story, but it just didn't work out as smoothly as he had hoped. You know, with his lieutenant there, obviously he has a recorder and he doesn't record the first part of the interview. He later says that he couldn't get the recorder to work right.
And you'll hear too when we listen to this, most of this of that part of that interview. he's going to get caught in some lies, and Brian Bates is going to definitely point those out for us in this next episode. So
I wonder if the reason that no one can find a picture of Jeff Sellers is on purpose.
well, I think that they're definitely hiding Jeff Sellers, or Jeff Sellers is hiding, but he is active in the department still. But I've been working with some of our sleuths, and I think that I found pictures of him, but I can't be sure. And I'm waiting back for a response from Brian Bates, because I won't show the pictures until I know for sure if it's him or not. So, waiting for Brian Bates to come and, let me know if I'm on the right track with that or not.
That's a good question, T. I really don't think that has been a part of the case to this point.
I don't think a lot of Sellers, anything about Sellers has been a part of the case.
Yeah.
For a reason. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we have some fundraisers going on. We have 2021 calendars and it's just pictures of Daniel before all of this happened. And then a fact about each of the 13 accusers. So we're selling the calendars for $30, and that money all goes to the defense fund. And then Rhonda just ordered some nifty little masks that say Free Daniel Holtzclaw. They have the Scales of Justice and Brian Bates' website to try to direct people to the podcast. And we're selling those for $25. And that money is going to go to purchase transcripts. So if you contribute to that fund or buy a mask, you will get access to the transcripts when we meet our fundraising goal. As you guys know, the transcripts are going to cost just under $5,000. So with that, I could give you an update on Daniel real quick, I guess. He is, he's back to feeling his normal self. He's in a pod of recovered people. So he's able to get outside for an hour every day, and, they're able to roam freely within the pod. They're going to get their canteen privileges back. So things are starting to get back to normal for him. And he's, as usual, he always wants me to tell people how much he appreciates every single person who asks about his case, tunes in to listen to a video. Just, he appreciates truly all of the support from everyone. And he loves to hear from his supporters. So if you haven't written to him, do that. Write to him and introduce yourself, and he'll write you back. So with that, CHAREE, do you have anything?
I just want to thank everybody for coming and listening to our presentation, and please keep following Daniel's case. Listen to Brian Bates' podcast, learn all you can. Thank you.
All right, guys, we'll see you soon. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.